Hi guys, a very good morning. Mamukase. So last week, Taiva two sessions, the SADC Extraordinary Summit. One which was virtual, and another one which was physical, which was held in Luanda, that is Angola, and Zimbabwe was on the agenda. We talked about this soon after the elections. We talked about the procedures which are going to be taken by SADC. And for those who are following us, they understand what we actually said. We talked about SADC calling for the extraordinary summit. It happened. We talked about SADC forming a subcommittee which is going to come to Zimbabwe to make some investigations and inquiries. It did happen. And that team, I believe that it is right now in the nation of Zimbabwe and meeting both parties concerned, that is Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, Triple C, ZANU-PF, the civil society, the church, and other stakeholders which might be interested in all this matter, so that they find a lasting solution and a resolution to the impasse which we have. So to those who believe that SADC is not doing something, they are just being misleading. And the honest truth is that SADC is working out something on Zimbabwe, because right now the legitimacy issue on the nation of Zimbabwe is different from the previous one. This time around, the president was not endorsed by even SADC, which means he remains illegal. If you take a look on what was happening in the few days ago, presidential portraits being removed from the embassies, that is a clear sign that those host countries which didn't react after the removal of those presidential portraits from the offices, they do not acknowledge the presidency of President Emerson Mnangagwa, which means he is simply a caretaker president. So when you see him traveling across the globe and is being welcomed as a president, he is doing such as a caretaker president, not as a legitimate elected president. So that is very important for the people of Zimbabwe to take note. So what is a caretaker president? So that people of Zimbabwe would understand. A caretaker is a person whose job is to take care of a house or a property when the owner is not there. So when we're talking about a caretaker government or a leader, it is in charge temporarily until a new government or a leader is appointed. So right now, because of the electoral vacuum which happened, because of the reports which were given on Zimbabwe elections, which clearly stated that these elections were now null and void, and that SADC actually put Zimbabwe issue on the agenda. What it means is that the Zimbabwe elections remain a mystery up to this day, and we do not have a substantive president, which means President Emerson Mnangagwa is there as a caretaker president, so as to simply fill the vacuum and not plunge the country into further chaos. That is the reason why he is continuing as the president of the Republic of Zimbabwe. But more of the issues are going to be resolved when the team comes to Zimbabwe, makes an investigation, gives recommendations to SADC. Then SADC will be prompted to hold another extraordinary summit, which is going to then make a decision on Zimbabwe. That very important decision will be made after this visit, and it will then resolve what needs to be done, resolve the impasse, and direct what happen next, the further steps right now. Remember, IPU, an International Parliamentary Union, is not recognizing what happened in Zimbabwe, especially the arrest of Job Sikala. They are against that, the continuous incarceration of Job Sikala, and also the recall of MPs in the nation of Zimbabwe. They've made directions to say you have to reverse this or you face the consequences. All those issues, if you take a look on them, the international community is simply not aligning itself to the nation of Zimbabwe. Even United Nations acknowledged that the elections in Zimbabwe were not free, were not fair, and called all parties to come together and resolve that impasse. So whatever which is going to happen in Zimbabwe right now, it is the responsibility of President Emmerson Mnangagwa to make sure that it does not de-escalate, does not escalate to something else, which is which will cause much troubles and much problems in the nation of Zimbabwe. So we just hope for the best. We just hope for peace in Zimbabwe. We need to have peace, because once you lose peace, it's difficult for you to have it back. So we really need to have all these issues resolved amicably. However, the question is ZANU-PF willing and ready to make sure that these issues are resolved without having any problems or any squabbles? That one we cannot guarantee. So it is what it is in Zimbabwe. So a lot of people were asking, why is it that President Emmerson Mnangagwa is continuously the president of the Republic of Zimbabwe? It's about protocols. It's about filling the vacuum. You cannot just wake up one day and say Zimbabwe no longer have a president who will be in charge if he is to step down right now. That will create further chaos. So he's there to fill the vacuum and allow legal processes to happen, allow international processes to happen, so that the impasse is resolved and the people of Zimbabwe can have dialogue, can sit down, talk. What the procedures will be, SADC will come and say, you guys, we are not going to impose anything on you. Mnangagwa, Chamisa, civil society, and other stakeholders, you have to sit down. Then SADC will have to find a neutral person to lead those discussions. And they will have to sit down, they have to talk, they have to do a lot so that they find each other. The reason why you are seeing whatever which is happening right now, there are two ways. Number one, ZANU-PF is trying by all means possible to try and bring a different person onto the table, which means the representatives of CCC might not be Chamisa and team, but other people. But the people who have thought about this idea, they are lost. The idea is not about CCC. The idea is about Nelson Chamisa and this team. Who is going to sit there will be from Nelson Chamisa's camp, will be an appointee of Nelson Chamisa if there is need for representatives. Then, on another note, you will see that even if they are to be endorsed by Shavangu and others, that will not remove the fact that the elections in Zimbabwe remain disputed and remain challenged. So it is what it is in Zimbabwe. I don't know what you think about this whole matter, but we are going to take further looks about what is going to happen after this delegation has come to Zimbabwe and they've done their findings and they've done whatever they're supposed to be doing.